Action News, Delaware Valley's leading news program with Harry Martin, Robin Garrison, and Chris Wagner.
Good afternoon. Robin's off today. Rob Jennings is joining us. In the news, a new accident study backs the effectiveness of buckling up.
The president makes his first statement about the crash of Pan Am Flight 103, and a not guilty verdict puts New York's best mess to rest.
The big story on Action News this noon is the start of the holiday rush. It is travel time across the Delaware Valley and across the world as millions of people hit the road. Because the Christmas holiday occurs on a weekend this year, many transit officials feel this could be the busiest travel time of the year. Action News reporter Rick Williams is live in the thick of things, Philadelphia International Airport. Rick?
Well, Chris, officials with the travel industry tell us that today won't be as busy a day as, say, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, but the folks here at the Philadelphia International Airport are preparing for quite an onslaught of people anyway. And so far, things seem to be going pretty smoothly here. Now, at this hour, no airlines are reporting any major delays due to the rain or even because of the Christmas traveling. The lines at the ticket counter are long, but not long enough to cause any major inconveniences for the holiday travelers who are heading out of town. So again, things going smoothly here at the Philadelphia International Airport. Now, earlier this morning, we were at the 30th Street station and caught up with folks using Amtrak to travel. Like the airport, there was really no Christmas congestion to worry about, and it was a pleasant surprise for most passengers we talked to.
The train can be a cattle car, you know. You can really pack them in there because the seats are unreserved, so it's really a crapshoot. I don't know what's going to happen.
But no problem so far?
Nope, fine so far.
With all these people, you know, they switch trains around and so forth. I actually commute to New York every day, so I've gotten kind of used to it.
So again, if this is supposed to be one of the busiest days of the year, we haven't really seen any evidence of it at this hour, but again, the day is still young. And hopefully tonight on Action News at 5, we will have an update for you on the travel scene here at the airport, the train station, and the bus depots as well. Until then, I'm Rick Williams reporting live on the Action Cam from the Philadelphia International Airport.
Thanks, Rick. Well, those who aren't already going over the river and through the woods to Grandma's are headed to shopping malls in droves. Time is fast running out for those who haven't finished their gift shopping. Action News New Jersey correspondent Anna Garcia is now live from a very busy Cherry Hill Mall. Anna?
Hi, Rob. The dreaded last-minute Christmas shopping is underway here at the Cherry Hill Mall. This is the day all the desperate shoppers come out. You'd think since they've had all this extra time to decide what to get their loved ones, they'd know exactly what to get. But, you know, some shoppers haven't a clue.
I'm looking for a dress for someone that I should have gotten earlier when I saw it, and now it's gone.
Some people were just beginning their Christmas shopping today. Those plastic charge cards were being used so much, some of them were melting. Why is it some people wait until the last minute?
It just doesn't feel like Christmas when I'm buying presents in November.
And for some, the whole thing is just plain frightening. We have to ask you, big guy, what's the advice for these last-minute shoppers?
Oh, advice. Carry plenty of aspirin, relax, and take your time. Best advice I can give you.
Oh, Santa, you are indeed a wise man. Reporting live on the Action Cam from the Cherry Hill Mall, I'm Anna Garcia.
Thank you, Anna. In other news today, Pope John Paul II met for 20 minutes this morning with PLO leader Yasser Arafat at the Vatican. Arafat is seeking the font of support for Palestinian independence, and apparently he got it. John Paul said both the Israelis and Palestinians have an identical right to their own homelands. Arafat arrived in Rome today from Tunisia. He'll be meeting with Italian government leaders later today. In Bethlehem, meanwhile, the birthplace of Jesus Christ, city officials there have canceled all observances of the Christmas holiday except religious services for fear of terrorist attacks.
The 9 American hostages being held in Lebanon have been flooded with Christmas messages this week, but it's unknown whether any of those messages are getting through. Voice of Lebanon Radio has broadcast numerous tape messages from friends and family of the hostages. And today, Lebanese newspapers published a letter from Peggy Say to her brother, journalist Terry Anderson. He's been held almost 4 years. Addressing the kidnappers, Mrs. Say wrote, "Only you, their captors, can end this stalemate. We have all suffered enough. Please." The government of Iran said today that it had nothing to do with Wednesday night's crash of Pan Am Flight 103. That statement came amid growing speculation that the crash of the jumbo jet was indeed the result of a bomb blast. This morning, more than 600 police officers fanned out across Lockerbie, Scotland, looking for the bodies of the victims and for more debris. More than 100 bodies are missing, including a dozen people believed to be on the ground in Lockerbie at the time of the crash. One woman who was believed to have died in Lockerbie arrived back in town this morning, much to the surprise and relief of her neighbors. Meanwhile, at the town hall, other residents checked the posted list to see whether friends and neighbors are among the dead. Social workers have arrived to help residents cope with their grief.
The town is still and will be for a very long time in a state of shock. There is a sense of denial in the community, and that again is natural and normal. The community will deal with its own problems by its interaction, and the community will therefore not have the problems or the intensity of grief that the individual will have.
The FBI is helping Scotland Yard investigate the crash, along with explosives and anti-terrorist experts from West Germany. No hard evidence of a bomb has been found, but experts say the mid-air disintegration of the plane has all the markings of a bombing. They suspect the bomb could have been made of the plastic explosive C4. That's the same explosive used on the Move House on Osage Avenue. C4 is very hard to detect with airport X-ray machines. President Reagan remembered the victims of the crash this morning as he left the White House, headed to California for the holidays.
A tragedy that steals the hopes and dreams from our society magnifies the loss to our society. I know that America and the world mourn the loss of these wonderful people. And I ask that all of our citizens say a special prayer this Christmas for those who have felt the pain of those losses. May God be with them.
Late yesterday, officials revealed that a U.S. servicewoman from Willingboro, New Jersey, Sergeant Deidre Woods, was on the ill-fated plane along with her husband and 2 children. She was returning home to see her ailing father.
A Philadelphia police officer has been arrested on shoplifting charges in Tredyffrin Township, Chester County. Police say they were called to this Best store on Route 202 in Devon last night. They arrested a suspect on shoplifting charges. He is identified as 44-year-old Terrell Bates, a 19-year veteran of the Philadelphia Police Department with the Traffic Division. Authorities say Bates struggled with officers and fled, but was caught again moments later. He's charged with shoplifting, resisting arrest, and aggravated assault. The trial of 21-year-old Lonnie Summers continues this noon in City Hall. Summers is accused of shooting and paralyzing 6-year-old Ralph Brooks in South Philadelphia last summer. Today's session was filled with motions and counter-motions to let the jury go to the scene of the shooting next week. The judge has okayed a motion to let the jurors visit the scene on 20th Street near Tasker next Tuesday.
It was a day in juvenile court for 2 11-year-olds charged in connection with last week's vicious pit bull attacks on a North Philadelphia school. They are charged with everything from aggravated assault to risking a catastrophe. Today, the kids were placed under house arrest until another hearing on January 4th. The 2 boys admitted releasing the pit bulls into a crowded schoolyard at the St. Edward's School. 5 students suffered bites and bruises as a result of the attacks. Several people had to be treated for smoke inhalation in Pine Hill, New Jersey this morning following a fire in the Mansion Apartments on West Branch Avenue. The injured were taken to JFK Stratford Hospital. They have all now been released. There is still no word on how the fire started.
An overnight 2-car crash in Delaware County has sent 2 people to the hospital. A car driven by Michael Tart of Booth Wynn was hit broadside here at Route 202 and Spring Hill Lane in Concord Township. Tart was helicoptered to the University of Pennsylvania Hospital, where he's listed in poor condition. A passenger in his car, Antoinette Cartieri of Concordville, is in critical condition at Riddle Memorial. The driver of the other car, Joseph Fusto of Chadds Ford, was not injured. State police are asking witnesses who saw this crash to call them at 215-459-4150. A suburban Pittsburgh fire company is trying to put out a burning controversy over its '89 fundraising calendar. The Pleasant Hills Volunteer Fire Company has been flooded with unpleasant letters about the scantily clad women pictured in their calendar. Some women are upset that there are no pictures of scantily clad men. Well, the chief of the company says he'll even the score next year by offering 2 calendars, one with men, the other with women. Chief Dan Heck admits, however, that his 50-member company is not filled with handsome hunks, so he might have to hire some professional models.
A few beer bellies there, huh? Much more to come on Action News this noon. The Explorers light up the scoreboard in overtime to take a big 5 win.
And the people who light up our homes and businesses share the holiday spirit in song. And AccuWeather says Santa Claus could have some rain showers for his rounds. We'll have the exclusive forecast and more when Action News comes right back. Former Miss America Bess Meyerson has been acquitted of charges she conspired to get a reduction in her boyfriend's alimony payments by giving the judge's daughter a city job. Here's more from New York.
It took the jury 4 days to decide, but no, Bess Meyerson was not guilty of conspiracy or mail fraud, of bribery or obstruction of justice.
I'm grateful for the American judicial system, and I thank the jury for exonerating me.
Bess Meyerson was New York's first Miss America, and later the popular panelist on I've Got a Secret. 5 years ago, while this city's Cultural Affairs Commissioner, Meyerson was romantically involved with a millionaire contractor named Andy Capasso. Capasso was in the midst of a messy divorce at the time and wanted this New York judge, Hortense Gable, to reduce his alimony payments. What followed was that Meyerson gave the judge's daughter a job, and the judge gave Meyerson's boyfriend that cut in alimony. A coincidence or conspiracy? The judge's daughter, the one that got the job, turned around and testified against all three, including her own mother. She was the prosecution's key witness. The problem was, in court, Sucrete Gable admitted to lifelong depression and a sketchy memory. In short, she was simply not credible.
We found so many holes in Sucrete Gable's testimony that I started finding holes everywhere in the prosecution's case.
Last night was the final chapter in a long and twisting tale. For Meyerson and her co-defendants, exoneration, a time for celebration. John McKenzie, ABC News, New York.
President-elect George Bush wrapped up a lot of business at once in a Washington news conference yesterday when he appointed 5 more cabinet choices. Among them, Atlanta educator Louis Sullivan, who has been chosen to head the Department of Health and Human Services. Sullivan, the first black appointee to the Bush cabinet, sparked some controversy over his pro-choice views on abortion. But he made it clear in the news conference yesterday that he agrees with George Bush that abortion should only be a choice in certain situations, such as rape or incest.
President Reagan has stirred up a minor hornet's nest with groups trying to help the millions of homeless Americans. Last night, in an interview with ABC's David Brinkley, the president said some homeless Americans prefer to sleep outside.
There are shelters in virtually every city, and shelters here, and those people still prefer out there on the grates or the lawn to going into one of those shelters.
He said there are plenty of shelters around to help all the homeless, but homeless advocates say that in Washington at least there are 2 homeless people for every bed available. The president also said he didn't understand why there's so many unemployed people in Washington with so many jobs listed in the newspaper. Pennsylvania Governor Casey is playing Santa Claus to a couple of homeless shelters in Harrisburg and Pittsburgh. Casey has ordered that surplus federal property obtained by the state be donated to those 2 shelters. Among the items the shelters will receive are 30 beds, 100 comforters, cartons of batteries, an electric heater, and an electric grill.
The number of people freezing to death in America has more than doubled in a decade, and researchers say that may be in part because of the huge increase in homeless people living on the streets. In 1985, the last year the complete numbers were available, more than 1,000 people died from exposure to the cold. That is a 137% increase over 1976. Researchers at the Centers for Disease Control say more studies are needed, but it appears that homelessness is a big part of the problem. Well, if you need some more reasons why you should wear your seatbelt in your car, here they are. The information comes in the form of a new study on accident injuries with and without seatbelts.
We are the dummies crashing on through. Despite these popular public service announcements pushing the use of seatbelts, more than half the people who drive cars in this country still drive unprotected.
We are professional dummies.
And there is new evidence that Americans are paying the price.
It costs almost 3 times as much to take care of someone who has been involved in an auto accident who's not wearing their safety belt versus someone who is wearing their safety belt. And the reason for that is that they are injured so much more severely.
A study at 4 Chicago area hospitals revealed that accident victims who did not wear seatbelts were 3 times as likely to have to be hospitalized as those who did. Non-users cost nearly 3 times as much to treat. And of the most severely injured, more than 80% were not buckled up.
Many other studies have shown the same thing, that seatbelts save lives and seatbelts reduce injury.
I hate how they wrinkle my suits.
You ought to see my cleaning bill.
There is evidence that public education is working. As recently as 1982, just 1 in 10 American drivers used seatbelts. Now, about half are buckling up. But according to one of the studies in the Journal of the American Medical Association, the best way to get motorists to wear seatbelts is to pass mandatory seatbelt laws. And that has met some strong opposition.
And I don't like a law out there that's basically unenforceable.
Despite the efforts of some legislators like Judy Barr Topinka, Illinois is one of 31 states to have mandatory belt laws. Another is North Carolina, where a study of accident injuries revealed that before the law, just a quarter of drivers buckled up. After, more than 3/4 did. And since the law took effect, the percentage of accident victims killed or injured decreased by about 20%. Many are still unconvinced.
Are we going to attempt to try and legislate out of our lives all the existent risk? And it's impossible. It's a never-ending battle.
With healthcare costs skyrocketing and taxpayers ultimately paying the price, doctors say there needs to be more emphasis placed on prevention. Seatbelts, they say, are a simple preventative step that has clearly been proven to be effective. I'm Jeff Locke in Chicago.
Well, it may not be a king's ransom, but the King of Morocco is in for an unexpected tax rebate from New Jersey officials. King Hassan II will soon find a check in the mail for $4,894 because he paid too much property tax in 1988. The king owns about 500 acres of property in the communities of Bedminster, Far Hills, and Peapack Gladstone. This week, the Peapack Gladstone Borough Council realized the monarch had overpaid his taxes. The king should be getting used to good news from New Jersey. Last month, the Somerset County Tax Board awarded him a $146,000 rebate because his property was overassessed. In other money matters, it appears lots of Wall Street traders are already heading home for the holidays. The Dow is up, but in very light trading. Right now, it stands at 2170 even. That's a jump of 10 points.
Checking sports this noon, no doubt who is the biggest of the Big Five is today. LaSalle gets the title hands down after pulling out a nail-biting 79-74 win last night over Villanova. The Wildcats figured they could beat the Explorers if they stopped LaSalle's best shooter, Lionel Simmons. They slowed him down, holding him to just 18 points, but they didn't figure on Craig Conlon and Bobby Johnson, who more than picked up the slack. After Nova missed a jumper at the regulation buzzer that would have given them the game, Johnson poured it in overtime for LaSalle. Their win moves the Explorers' season record to 7-1 and leaves them 1 win shy of this year's Big Five title. The Flyers host the Hartford Whalers tonight at the Spectrum, soaring high atop a 6-game winning streak. And their latest win, a 4-2 win last night over the Islanders, put them into a 3-way tie for second place in the Patrick Division. The team led throughout the game, powered by a couple of goals from Ron Sutter. He chalked up one in the first period and then found the net again in the third to cap off the Flyers' scoring. In between, rookie Jeff Chikrin picked up his first NHL goal. Brian Propp also scored. The Flyers are now above the 500 mark for the first time since November 6th. There might be a new team in the National Hockey League schedule in the coming seasons. A journal published in Moscow says the Soviet Union is thinking about putting a team in the league. NHL officials have invited the Soviets to field such a team, according to that report from Moscow. The reason the Soviets are thinking about the entry into the NHL is very simple: rubles. Soviet President Gorbachev needs an infusion of foreign money if his economic reforms are to succeed. Flyers management has made it clear in the past that the Soviets are not welcome in the NHL, and they are willing to go to court to stop them. This is the time of year when we always see an outpouring of love and concern for those less fortunate than ourselves. In Florida, a woman who plays Santa Claus each year almost couldn't this time around, but the spirit of the season won out.
Several hundred had lined up in the pre-dawn chill long before the doors opened for the world's largest Christmas party. A record number, almost 75,000 needy children came through, choosing from 500,000 free toys.
I got one of these game toys and bears like this.
All this is organized every Christmas by retired Justice of the Peace Dorcas Drake. At age 72, this was her 31st annual Christmas party.
Merry Christmas.
Made possible by donated toys from local businesses, clubs, and residents.
You don't sign in or sign out. If you're in line, you get toys.
Merry Christmas, darling.
And they're all God's children. And if I can't treat children right, I can't treat anybody right.
But last month, just before Thanksgiving, something happened to put this party in jeopardy. Many feared it would not be held this year, for the first time in 3 decades. Fire all but destroyed Judge Drake's house. The community braced itself to hear she would have to cancel the Christmas party. But she continued to stockpile toys in a warehouse. And local firemen raised money and donated their time to rebuild the house.
Our goal the day of the fire was to have Judge Drake home for Christmas, and we're going to make it.
She will get the keys to her rebuilt home today, but Judge Drake already has received the gift she values most. Al Dale, ABC News, Jacksonville, Florida.
Great story. Harry Martin continues his vacation today on this perfectly miserable day in the Delaware Valley. It's a rainy 41 degrees right now. The humidity is way up there, as you can feel, at 95%. The barometer is 30.29 and falling. The winds are out of the southeast at 8 miles an hour, and the water temperature in Atlantic City is 43 degrees. AccuWeather says rain, drizzle, and clouds are all we've got in store for us this afternoon, high of 45. Tonight will be damp and foggy, the low a very mild 40. Tomorrow, Christmas Eve, windy, cloudy, and mild with a chance of rain or drizzle again and a high of 56 degrees. Christmas Day should be partly sunny and blustery, turning colder with highs just in the 40s and a possible flurry. Monday should start out sunny, then become cloudy with a high of 45. Tuesday, a rainy day, high 48, then clearing on Wednesday, windy and chilly, high 42.
In Los Angeles, the so-called Cadillac Santa is struck again. The mysterious, middle-aged, gray-haired man made his annual Skid Row Christmas delivery yesterday, passing out 600 $10 bills to the down and out, $6,000. Nobody knows the man's name, but he's been passing out money from his Cadillac for the last 7 years. And his car always has a dealer license plate, so nobody can trace his license number.
Finally this noon, the sounds of daily business made way for the sounds of the season this morning in Center City. Employees of Philadelphia Electric serenaded their colleagues as they arrived for the last workday before Christmas with a good old-fashioned carol sing. The PE carolers, as they call themselves, don't get much chance to practice, but they more than make up for it in spirit. Let's listen. Sound pretty good to me. The caroling's become an annual tradition at the utility headquarters and one that everybody enjoys.
Indeed. That's it for Action News at noon. Right now, the Action News team is working on these stories for 5 and 6 tonight. We'll have the story of a man who's helping Santa by going through thousands of letters.
And the New Jersey high school science class learns from an experiment in kindness. Those stories and more tonight at 5 and 6. For now, for Harry Martin, Robin Garrison, Rob Jennings, and the entire Action News team, I'm Chris Wagner. Have a good day and a great holiday.
From Channel 6, this has been Action News, the most watched news program in the Delaware Valley. When you see news happening, call the Action News tip line by dialing News 6. In New Jersey, dial 966-6666 or call our regional news bureaus.